Do you ever wonder what makes a life-changing history? Right, a solid mission of the visionaries. It was Dr. Anka and his colleagues' mission to accelerate technology development. Through the establishment of Institute Technology 10 November, their goodwill has encouraged ITS students to take important roles in both local and global communities, ministers, CEOs, professors, entrepreneurs, and yes, another history maker. These successful alumni were trained in a healthy learning environment that was equipped with various supporting facilities. From vocation to marine technology, all faculties and departments of ITS were formed to be the best place to learn science, technology, and design. 7 faculties and 1 interdisciplinary school. Scientists, Faculty of Science and Data Analytics. MARTech, Faculty of Marine Technology. INSYS, Faculty of Industrial Technology and Systems Engineering. Electics, Faculty of Intelligent Electrical and Informatics Technology.
Good morning. We would like to remind participants to turn on their camera and make this event alive. Also to use the virtual background that has been sent in the chat box Zoom. Lastly, don't forget to change your name to team_name for the finalists or institution_name for the others. Thank you.
Disciplinary School of Management and Technology. Recognized as one of the top best-ranked institutes doesn't mean the finish line for ITS. To gain greater international recognition, ITS launched International Undergraduate Program. Students can get wider international exposure through 20 study programs they can apply. The chances are also open for professors from all over the world to teach and conduct research at ITS. These opportunities have made international joint research and other international activities successfully performed. Like IUP, students and lecturers from other programs have also contributed to the ITS achievements. Numerous appreciations earned exemplify Institute's excellent performance. But technology and academic excellence is not the only goal of the Institute. Students are guided to apply their knowledge for the welfare of society. Because to note a new life-changing history, technology must advance humanity. ITS, Institute Technology 10 November.
In 2024, Pertamina's aspiration have been set to become leading global energy company with market valuation of $100 billion. Integrating value chain should be done in every Pertamina's business line, such as refining and petrochemical, which have to be Southeast Asia refineries leader and Indonesia petrochemical.
Once again, we would like to remind the participant to turn on your camera and make this event live. Also, use the virtual background that has been provided in the chat box Zoom. Lastly, don't forget to change your name into team_name for the finalists or institution_name for the others. Thank you.
International. Kilang Pertamina International, which has been established in November 13, 2017. The company had two subsidiaries, PT Kilang Pertamina Balikpapan and Pertamina Rosneft Pengolahan and Petrokimia. Kilang Pertamina International have a vision as a world-class oil refinery and petrochemical company by doing mission, running oil and petrochemical refinery business professionally and internationally with strong economic principles and environmentally friendly. Kilang Pertamina International operation focuses on managing end-to-end of oil and petrochemical refinery business. From crude oil procurement, refinery operation, product commercialization, including development of the project infrastructure. Kilang Pertamina International operates 9 refineries with total installed capacity of around 1 million barrels per day. In order to continuously increase the refinery profitability, Kilang Pertamina International is currently carrying out multiple strategic initiatives. Comprise of crude and product optimization, inventory management, energy efficiency, reliability improvement, in addition to thus initiated, Kilang Pertamina International also carries out the development of the project infrastructure, where there are adjustments to meet the objectives that have been set. The objectives are to maximize gasoline products, minimize diesel products, as well as to minimize capital expenditure. To increase the refinery performance, besides developing current refineries, Kilang Pertamina International is also building a grassroots refinery in Tuban. Kilang Pertamina International strengthening HSSE culture in all operation area to reduce the number of accidents, covers all aspects on an ongoing basis. From systems, worker competencies, and technology that supports job execution.
To all participants, we like to remind you to turn on your camera and make this event alive. Also to use the virtual background that has been sent in the chat box Zoom. Lastly, don't forget to change your name to team_name for the finalists or institution_name for the others. Thank you.
Perubahan selalu berikan tantangan, menggiring kita pada sebuah pilihan. Seperti kami yang memilih untuk terus beradaptasi dan bertransformasi menjadi SIG. Kami mempunyai tujuan menjadi perusahaan penyedia solusi bahan bangunan terbesar di regional, merangkum segala tantangan, menciptakan hal baru. Pertumbuhan populasi dari tahun ke tahun bertambah. Kebutuhan pembangunan dan hunian juga meningkat. Perlahan, perubahan ini bisa mempengaruhi kondisi lingkungan. Melalui inovasi produk, kami ciptakan metode pembangunan masa depan yang cepat, terjangkau, dan ramah lingkungan. Memadukan teknologi dan material untuk capai hasil yang maksimal. Mendukung pengembangan dan pelestarian lingkungan di saat yang bersamaan. Demi kehidupan berkelanjutan bagi generasi mendatang. Generasi yang terus bergerak, mengandalkan kecepatan dan kemudahan dalam mengakses segala kebutuhan. Kami berinovasi dengan menciptakan kemudahan pembangunan lebih praktis, terintegrasi, dan bermanfaat. Serta terus mendorong pertumbuhan ekonomi dengan membangun sinergi dan kolaborasi bersama masyarakat. Karena kami percaya bahwa setiap diri manusia bisa menjadi penggerak perubahan. Membentuk karakter perilaku bekerja yang mengutamakan kepentingan bersama dan saling mendukung, serta mengembangkan kemampuan. Dengan sistem manajemen mutu yang teruji untuk hasilkan solusi yang berkualitas. Segala inovasi ini membuat kami yakin terus bergerak maju dan hadir di seluruh penjuru Indonesia. Mengutamakan kepentingan bersama hingga seluruh pemangku kepentingan. Kini, kami adalah perusahaan penyedia solusi bahan bangunan yang akan bertindak beda dan selalu melebihi jangkauan. SIG, Go Beyond Next.
Give me reasons to doubt, try to keep me down, but I'll put the flame out, you can't get to me. Throw your sticks and your stones, go break all of my bones, you won't ache my soul, you can't get to me. And there is no barricade that I can tear away. Shoot me down, go fire away, away. But I'm a heavyweight, I'm a heavyweight, I'm a heavyweight.
Good morning, and once again, we would like to remind the participant to turn on your camera and make this event alive. Also, to use the virtual background that has been provided in the chat box too. Lastly, don't forget to change your name into team_name for the finalists or institution_name for the others. Thank you.
push me down to the ground. What goes around comes around. You won't put the flame out, you can't get to me. Say what you wanna say, go take it all away, but I'm here to stay. No, you can't get to me. And there is no barricade that I can tear away. Shoot me down, but fire away, away. But I'm a heavyweight. I'm a heavyweight. I'm a heavyweight.
Some members, some students from our university, members of our scientific association, a few years ago went to USA for the chemical competition, and they met the Indonesian team. They told them about the competition at Indonesia. They went there, and we decided to repeat this.
From Utamina University.
So happy that we have met all of the participants, all of the committees, all of the judges. They were so kind and they were so welcoming for us to be here. And since this is our very first experience, we feel very proud of it.
Sebagai negara kepulauan yang memiliki wilayah yang luas, Indonesia adalah negara yang dianugerahi oleh kekayaan alam yang tidak pernah ada habisnya. Sejak dahulu, Indonesia selalu kaya dengan hasil dari pertanian dan perkebunan. Iklimnya yang tropis, curah hujan yang tinggi dan tanahnya yang subur membuahkan berbagai komoditas bernilai tinggi. Dengan besarnya sumber daya pangan lokal yang dimiliki, Indonesia mampu mewujudkan ketahanan pangan yang berkelanjutan. Selamat datang di PT Petrokimia Kayaku. Kami hadir untuk turut mendukung upaya pemerintah dalam memperkuat kedaulatan pangan nasional melalui produk pestisida dan produk hayati berkualitas tinggi. Diresmikan di Gresik pada tanggal 30 Juli 1977. Kami merupakan perusahaan penanaman modal asing dengan kepemilikan saham oleh PT Petrokimia Gresik sebesar 60%, Mitsubishi Corporation sebesar 20%, dan Nippon Kayaku sebesar 20%. Berlandaskan visi menjadi perusahaan penghasil pestisida dan produk hayati yang paling diminati oleh pelanggan, kami menjalankan roda bisnis dengan pengelolaan usaha yang mengedepankan prinsip good corporate governance pada setiap jenjang organisasi dan kegiatan operasional. Untuk menunjang keberlangsungan produksi, kami mengoperasikan 3 pabrik, yaitu Pabrik 1, seluas 1,5 hektar, terletak di kawasan PT Petrokimia Gresik, Pabrik 2 dengan luas 1 hektar, dan Pabrik 3 seluas 4,47 hektar. Keduanya berada di kawasan industri Gresik. Hingga saat ini, kami telah berhasil memproduksi beragam produk berkualitas tinggi seperti insektisida, herbisida, fungisida, rodentisida, fumigan, moluskisida, atraktan, pupuk cair, produk hayati, zat perangsang tumbuh, serta probiotik untuk ikan dan ternak. Distribusi kami telah menjangkau ke berbagai wilayah di penjuru negeri. Dengan didukung lebih dari 120 distributor dan 5.000 kios di seluruh Indonesia, kami siap memberikan pelayanan terbaik melebihi harapan. Selain pemasaran secara konvensional, kami juga telah melakukan pemasaran produk melalui sarana online di berbagai marketplace. Sebagai usaha untuk memperluas pasar domestik, kami juga terus membuka pasar baru ke luar negeri dengan melakukan ekspor ke negara-negara di benua Asia dan Afrika. Menjawab tantangan di era digital seperti saat ini, kami telah membangun sebuah aplikasi berbasis Android bernama PK Smart. Melalui aplikasi ini, para petani dan masyarakat umum bisa mendapatkan informasi mengenai produk, solusi pestisida, hingga melakukan konsultasi secara online. Dalam menyatukan asa dan upaya untuk menghasilkan produk bermutu, setiap tahapan proses produksi kami lakukan dengan mengutamakan ketelitian untuk mencapai kesempurnaan. Kontrol kualitas kami jalankan dengan seksama dalam laboratorium modern dengan peralatan mutakhir. Selain itu, kami juga aktif melakukan riset dan penelitian guna menghasilkan produk inovatif yang bernilai tambah. Sebagai bukti komitmen akan kualitas, kami telah melengkapi diri dengan ISO 9001, ISO 14001, ISO 45001 dan SMK 3 yang telah terintegrasi, serta produk yang tersertifikasi oleh Sukovindo. Kami selalu percaya kualitas sumber daya manusia yang andal akan berdampak peningkatan daya saing di tengah dinamika persaingan usaha. Untuk itu, kami memberi prioritas yang tinggi bagi seluruh insan perusahaan agar memiliki keterampilan yang memadai serta menghidupi etos kerja dengan karakter yang tangguh, profesional, berintegritas, dan menjunjung tinggi aspek kesehatan dan keselamatan kerja. Selain itu, sebagai perusahaan yang tumbuh dan berkembang di tengah masyarakat, kami memiliki komitmen yang kuat untuk turut berkontribusi terhadap lingkungan sosial dan komunitas sekitar. Melalui serangkaian kegiatan Corporate Social Responsibility, kami bergerak secara harmonis dengan para pemangku kepentingan dalam mewujudkan pertumbuhan berkelanjutan. Kepercayaan yang telah diberikan kepada kami membuat kami tidak pernah berhenti untuk terus berkarya, bersinergi, dan berkolaborasi dalam menghasilkan karya terbaik bagi negeri agar dapat memuliakan petani Indonesia serta menciptakan kehidupan yang lebih baik.
Ladies and gentlemen, we cordially invite you to turn on your camera and be seated in the comfort place because in a few minutes the ceremony will proceed in no time. Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. To the Honorable CEO of Chernival, Ms. Ajeng Almira Tarisa, Head of Chemical Engineering Students Association or Himatek ITS, Mr. Pramudia Riandana Bayu Gautama, Head of Chemical Engineering Department ITS, Mrs. Vidya Sutiesti MT, and all finalists of Indonesia Chemical Reaction Car Competition 2022 and all participants.
Good morning, and we're very delighted to welcome you on the awarding day of ICRCC 2022. First of all, let us introduce ourselves. I'm Gerald.
And I'm Rabia.
We'll serve as the master of ceremony for the next 3 hours. Before we start the main event, let's first pray to God for gathering us here. Pray begins. Finish.
Then we would like to say our gratitude to Mr. Pramono, Mr. Joko Pranoto, PT Kilang Pertamina International, PT Kilang Pertamina International RU4, which RU stands for Refinery Unit, PT Kilang Pertamina International RU7, PT Pupuk Kaltim, PT Energi Kuarto Indonesia,
PT Pupuk Indonesia, PT Petrokimia Kayaku, PT Badak LNG, PT Python Operation and Maintenance Indonesia, PT Semen Indonesia Group, PT Pertamina Lubricants, PT Semen Padang, and PT Ciljidang Indonesia for taking part, being our sponsor and supporting this ICRCC 2022.
After that, we'd like to tell you a little information about Chernival. Chemical Engineering Innovation Festival or Chernival is an annual series of the biggest agenda which is organized by Himatek ITS. It consists of 3 sub-events such as National Olympiad and Innovation Challenge of Chemical Engineering or NOPEC, Indonesia Chemical Reaction Car Competition or ICRCC, also concert and charity. Under the theme of Discharging Innovation Through Youth Collaboration, we will discharge your potential.
For ICRCC itself, it is already becoming the international scale biggest chemical reaction car competition in Indonesia since 2011. It engages chemical engineering students to put their innovative ideas in developing a prototype car which is powered by a chemical energy source that will safely carry a specified load over a given distance and stop. This year, we have 23 teams that already compete 3 days before. And at the end of this agenda, we'll know who's the champion of ICRCC 2022.
Moving to the next agenda, we'll play the national anthem Indonesia Raya and also the university anthem HIM ITS.
Then we would like to invite the CEO of Chernival, Ajeng Almira Tarisa, to delivering a welcoming speech. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Ajeng Almira Tarisa.
Can you hear my voice clearly? Okay, thank you for the confirmation. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. I am Ajeng as representative of Chernival 2022. First of all, let us praise to Allah, who gives us 1,000 blessings until we can attend the last event of ICRCC 2022 awarding day right now. I would like you to Doctor of Engineering, Mrs. Widya Suti, as head of Chemical Engineering Department ITS, Pramudia Riwandana Bayu Gautama as the head of Himatek ITS, and Minister of Energy for acceleration of and investment who gives opening speech on our webinar. And Ms. Edgar, all of the ICRCC 2022 finalists, the expert team and the judges of ICRCC 2022, our dear sponsor who always support us, participants of Awarding and Webinar ICRCC 2022, and last but not least, Board of Committees Chernival 2022, which I am proud of. Congratulations to all 23 ICAR teams finalists of ICRCC 2022 who have been fighting in all stages of ICRCC 2022. You guys are awesome. Last week, you gave your performance in our competition, and today we are going to announce who will be the winner of ICRCC 2022. Not only that, we will open the awarding session with our special webinar about the challenge of energy transition towards eco-friendly car. As we all know, the energy transition has been hot topic nowadays in the world, and we want to spread this knowledge through this webinar. Hopefully, you can learn a lot from it. That's all from us. Good luck, and we wish you all the best for ICRCC 2022 finalists. Enjoy our event. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Back to MC.
Thank you, Tarisa, for the welcoming speech. Then, we would like to invite the Honorable One, Mrs. Widya Suti, as the head of Chemical Engineering Department, Institut Teknologi 10 November, for delivering a welcoming speech. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mrs. Widya Suti.
Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for joining Awarding ICRCC Chernival 2022. It is such an honor for me to speak in front of you. Let me begin by giving you a warm welcome to this event, Indonesia Chemical Reaction Car Competition 2022. First, let us say praise to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, who gives all of the favors and help to us until this day. Today, the winner of ICRCC is announced. Victory is not the goal, but the sportiveness that is the important thing. Also getting to know each other between teams, moreover. at the international level as a basis for future collaboration is also important. I believe all of the participants have proved that everyone is a winner. I congratulate all of the participants for reaching this final level, and I give my best wishes to you. Yeah, and another part of this event is a webinar. The topic is very interesting, so then please do not miss this webinar. Finally, I also thank to organizers, the sponsor, the judge, and the expert team, and everyone who had prepared and made this event successful. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you for your participation. I do hope you are successful in your life. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Mrs. Widiastuti, for the welcoming speech.
Now, let's hear an opening speech by Mr. Sandiaga Salahuddin Uno. But before that, let me introduce Mr. Sandiaga. Mr. Sandiaga is our Minister of Tourism and Creative Economy. He is a graduate of George Washington University and now has his own business. Now, let's see the opening speech by Mr. Sandiaga.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Salam sejahtera bagi kita semua. Shalom, Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, salam kebajikan, salam sehat, salam Indonesia maju, penuh semangat. Masuki era globalisasi, pertumbuhan ekonomi suatu negara tidak lagi hanya bertumbuh pada faktor produksi konvensional seperti penambahan kapital dan tenaga kerja, tapi juga dipengaruhi oleh kemajuan ilmu, pengetahuan, dan teknologi. Pengembangan iptek terhadap sektor pariwisata dan ekonomi kreatif memiliki peran yang penting untuk menciptakan suatu destinasi wisata yang berkualitas dan berkelanjutan, serta produk kreatif yang memiliki nilai tambah berbasis kekayaan intelektual. Mahasiswa sebagai generasi penerus bangsa merupakan salah satu elemen penting yang harus mampu melahirkan berbagai inovasi sekaligus menjawab tantangan pembangunan ekonomi bangsa di masa depan. Penerapan konsep green industry dan sustainable energy menjadi salah satu tantangan. Hal ini juga sejalan dengan salah satu isu yang akan dibahas pada G20, yaitu Sustainable Energy Transition. Hadirnya kegiatan Indonesia Chemical Reaction Car Competition ICRCC 2022 diharapkan dapat menjadi sebuah wadah bagi mahasiswa untuk berinovasi dan berkreasi dalam bidang prototipe mobil berbahan bakar reaksi kimia dan energi yang ramah lingkungan. Saya mengapresiasi Departemen Teknik Kimia FTIRS Institut Teknologi 10 November yang telah menyelenggarakan kegiatan ini. Semoga dapat memberikan dampak positif bagi pengembangan riset dunia, industri, dan teknologi ramah lingkungan di masa depan. Selamat dan sukses kepada seluruh partisipan yang telah menciptakan inovasi dan kreativitasnya. Semoga membawa dampak pada kebangkitan ekonomi dan membuka lapangan kerja seluas-luasnya. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Om Santi, Santi, Santi.
Thank you, Mr. Sandiaga Uno, for the opening speech. Last but not least, let's hear an opening speech by Mr. Triharyo Susilo. Mr. Triharyo Susilo is the Special Advisor to the Minister of Acceleration and Infrastructure Development. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Triharyo Susilo.
Terima kasih Bapak Ibu Moderator, Bapak Sandiaga Uno, selaku Menteri Pariwisata dan Ekonomi Kreatif. Lalu kemudian Kepala Departemen Teknik Kimia, Ibu Dr. Widiastuti, yang kami hormati. Ketua Himpunan Mahasiswa Teknik Kimia, Adinda Pramudia Riandara Bayu Gautama. CEO Chernival, Adinda Ajeng Almira Tarisya Asri. Para pembicara dan para peserta Chernival yang kami hormati dan sangat banggakan. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi, salam sejahtera bagi kita semua. Pertama-tama malah kita panjatkan puji syukur kehadirat Allah Subhanahu wa taala karena berkat ridhonya lah kita bisa bertemu pada pagi hari ini. Dan pertama-tama juga kami ingin mohon maaf karena Bapak Menteri SDM tidak dapat hadir karena adanya jadwal yang tidak bisa tergantikan. Kami mohon maaf juga menyampaikan paparan ini dan sudah saya sampaikan juga di chat. Saya ingin mengarahkan para ahli teknik kimia Indonesia dan juga para peserta Chemical Engineering Innovation Festival untuk melihat dan berpaling kepada peningkatan nilai tambah atau yang disebut PNT bahan tambang mineral. Secara undang-undang 2 tahun yang lalu, seluruh para anggota DPR dan pemerintah sudah sepakat bahwa mineral dan bahan tambang ini harus ditingkatkan. Tidak boleh lagi dijual dengan sebagaimana selama ini bahan mentah dikirim ke luar negeri. Harus diolah menjadi nilai tambah yang sangat tinggi di Indonesia. Sebagai contoh, batu bara ini saat ini batu bara mulut tambang tidak bisa untuk diekspor dan lokasinya pun di dalam pulau-pulau Indonesia. Untuk itu, kita bisa mengkonversi batu bara tersebut menjadi LPG. LPG ini saat ini sangat luar biasa impornya dan sangat besar, dan sangat Indonesia itu tergantung dari LPG. Oleh sebab itu, kami mendorong para ahli Chernival untuk melihat batu bara menjadi LPG. Pengganti LPG adalah namanya dimethyl ether. Ini dilakukan dengan cara memasukkan batu bara ke dalam sebuah tungku reaktor yang disebut gasification reactor. Dari gasifikasi reaktor akan menjadi syngas akan menjadi metanol, dan metanol akan menjadi DMI. DMI sudah diuji di Lampung, di Sumatera Selatan, di Palembang dengan para masyarakat di sana, ada sekitar 155 masyarakat, teruji dengan baik, masyarakat menerima apabila LPG tersebut diganti oleh DMI. Memang rasio kalorinya lebih rendah, DMI kira-kira memerlukan 1,3 setara dengan LPG. Nah, inilah suasana dan harga LPG saat ini. Di dunia ada yang disebut Contract Price Aramco atau CPA. Saat ini APBN itu hanya $60 harga CPA Aramco-nya ya. 60 basis minyak mentahnya $63. Sedangkan harga CPA Aramco dalam kontrak atau APBN itu 491. Bapak-bapak dan Ibu, rekan-rekan semua, ini adalah masalah yang sangat besar dan para industriawan kimia harus turun tangan. Karena kalau kita meningkat harga LPG, itulah angka-angka kerugian negara, itulah angka-angkanya. Sedangkan LPG sekarang sudah 8 juta ton realisasi importnya. Dan bisa dikonversi dari batu bara. Inilah rencana kami dengan pemerintah dan juga para industriawan teknologi kimia. Bukit Asam akan memasok batu bara sekitar 6 juta ton ke lokasi di Tanjung Enim, itu adalah batu bara mulut tambang, diolah oleh perusahaan Amerika yang disebut Air Products, dan akan diolah menjadi DMI 1,4 juta ton, didistribusikan oleh Pertamina ke seluruh Sumatera, kecuali mungkin daerah Aceh, dan tapi itu adalah rencananya, dan ini Presiden sudah melakukan groundbreaking pada tanggal 24 Januari. Mari, saya mohon sekali para industriawan kimia, para teknolog kimia untuk berpaling ke industri bahan tambang. Saya lihat para sponsornya banyak sekali dari semen, dari pupuk, dari perusahaan-perusahaan Pertamina, tapi tidak ada, saya tidak melihat adanya sponsor-sponsor dari perusahaan tambang. Itu betapa jauhnya para industriawan teknologi kimia dengan industriawan tambang. Nah, contoh lain di ferronikel, ini kita memerlukan para ahli teknologi kimia. Tambang itu nikel harus diolah menjadi ferronikel melalui proses yang disebut RKEF, Rotating Electric Furnace. Itu sudah kuno. Sekarang yang proses terbaru adalah high pressure acid leaching. Saya tanya ke dalam ruangan ini, pasti sebagian besar di ruangan ini tidak pernah mengenal kata-kata tersebut. Ini sangat sedih saya sebenarnya sebagai seorang industriawan kimia dan teknolog kimia, karena tidak berpaling. Para mahasiswa teknik kimia tidak berpaling kepada industri tambang. Contoh juga emas. Emas ini untuk memurnikan disebutnya dengan gold elution processing. Saya juga ingin tahu apakah Departemen Teknik Kimia ITS sudah melihat seperti proses-proses seperti ini. Selain itu juga sudah sangat diperlukan ya proses untuk membuat alumina yang kualitas tinggi melalui proses yang disebut Bayer proses menggunakan caustic soda. Ini suatu proses-proses yang harus dikembangkan di Indonesia dengan para ahli Indonesia, karena Indonesia memiliki tambang-tambang dengan nilai tambah yang sangat tinggi dan juga cadangan yang sangat tinggi. Alumina sendiri tidak hanya di tambangnya diproses menjadi alumina, tapi juga menjadi aluminium. Ada aluminium ingot, ada aluminium foundry, ada aluminium billet. Itu semua adalah mata rantai industri aluminium. Dan juga yang terakhir adalah timah. timah ini terbesar ada di dunia, kita nomor 3 atau nomor 2 di dunia. Saya yakin para mahasiswa teknik kimia tidak pernah menengok, memperhatikan, mempelajari processing bahan tambang menjadi bahan tambang yang bernilai tinggi. Coba saya tanya mengenai rare earth mineral atau yang disebut tanah jarang. Pasti jarang sekali yang mendalami dari Departemen Teknik Kimia ITS, ITB, Universitas Indonesia, Universitas Diponegoro, Gajah Mada. Mari rekan-rekan semua berpaling kepada industri kimia, bahan tambang. Itu adalah permohonan dari kami, dari Kementerian SDM. Mari tingkatkan peningkatan nilai tambah bahan tambang dan mineral. Ini bukan kami, tapi sudah menjadi amanah undang-undang dan juga kebijakan pemerintah. Peningkatan nilai tambang tersebut dilakukan pada 5 jenis tambang yang sangat berlebih di Indonesia, ya, batu bara, nikel, emas, alumina, dan timah. Seluruh peningkatan nilai tambah ini memerlukan kemampuan pengembangan reaksi kimia, memerlukan pengembangan para ahli teknologi kimia. Demikian paparan kami, mohon maaf kalau ada salah kata. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Saya kembalikan ke moderator.
Thank you, Mr. Triharyo, for the opening speech.
Sorry, there is a technical issue. After this, we will have a webinar, which will be conducted by our moderator, Tiara. But first, we would like to introduce the moderator. Our moderator today is Tiara Novia. Tiara is a student in Chemical Engineering Department ITS. She is also a staff in Society of Petroleum Engineering ITS Student Chapter and American Institute of Chemical Engineering ITS Student Chapter. On this occasion, Tiara will lead the webinar session with our speaker. Without any further ado, the one and only Tiara, time is yours.
Thank you, Tiara Elvia, for the time. Let us proceed with the material session provided by our speakers. Mr. Hilman Prasetya Edi, Sarjana Teknik Master of Science, with the topic of energy transition. And Ms. Regia Puspitasari, Sarjana Teknik, who will bring a chemical as an eco-friendly car for our second topic. But before that, let me introduce myself. My name is Tiara, and it is my pleasure to be the moderator of this event. So let's go straight to the topic presented in the first session, namely energy transition. Many of you may still be confused what energy transition actually is, why do we need energy transition, or how far is the energy transition in Indonesia, and what are the challenges? Well, we will find out and will be discussed and explored by our most astonishing speaker, and I will welcome him right away, Mr. Hilman. Good morning, Mr. Hilman. How are you today?
Good morning, Tiara. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good also. Thank you for being here with us. Okay, I believe that many of the participants must be curious about Mr. Hilman. So maybe first, let me read the background of Mr. Hilman. He is the Sustainable Energy Engineer Enthusiast and first Vice President of Research and Information System Development at PT Rekayasa Industri. He holds a bachelor's degree of chemical engineering at Bandung Institute of Technology in 2014, and also a master's degree of sustainable energy system at the University of Edinburgh in 2020. He started his career as a process engineer at Bandung Institute of Technology, and since 2015, he has been working at Rekayasa Industri. Before we begin the presentation, I would like to remind all of you to write your question through the Slido link in the chat room, or if you want to ask directly to our speakers so that can be more interactive, you can just raise your hand and then I'll allow you to unmute. And without further ado, Hilman, the time is yours.
Can you please confirm you can see my presentation?
Yeah, you can see your presentation.
Okay then. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning Ibu Widya Stuti, Pak Sandiaga Uno, Pak Hengki, and all the participants of ICRCC Chernival. It is an honor for me to be here at the campus of my parents. They're in chemical engineering. Father is K17 and my mother is a graduates. So let me introduce myself. I am Hilman Prasetya, the Vice President of Research and Information System Development of PT Rekayasa Industri. Well, as the moderator said before, I am also a sustainable energy engineer, graduated from the Sustainable Energy System Master Program of the University of Edinburgh. Today, I will present to you just a brief introduction to the energy transition. This presentation will be divided into 5 sections. First, we will talk about the key issues that drive the energy transition. Second, we will deeply discuss the energy transition itself. What is it and how are we doing it? Then we can try to see how other countries doing this energy transition. In this case, United Kingdom. Then followed by our country, Indonesia. Lastly, I will give a closing statement to finish our brief discussion. So without further ado, let's start talking about this thing called energy transition. Globally speaking, the world is now changing toward a sustainable future. Why? As we all know that we are now facing anthropogenic global warming, which causes atmospheric pollution, fresh and seawater pollution, toxic waste, and deforestation. Anthropogenic here means man-made. So global warming is caused by none other than our activities. Through the Paris Agreement, members of the United Nations agreed to limit their greenhouse gases emission that caused this global warming. So the global temperature increase is only 1.5 degrees Celsius by 2050. Because if we pass this 1.5 degrees Celsius limit, we will face an unimaginable, irreversible impact. So how is the world generally do it? They're in the process of changing their energy sources from fossil fuel to the renewable energy. And what about us? Indonesia is now facing an energy dilemma. The government of Indonesia must balance our ever-increasing demand for electricity from available sources and imports. We are now roughly producing 50% of our oil consumption and importing the rest. That is far from being secure. The second problem is the cost of electricity. It has to be in the range where it is still profitable for the power producers and affordable for the end consumers. As we are also a member of the UN, we are also obligated to reduce our carbon emissions by increasing the renewable energy penetration in our system. How are we going to do that? Of course, by developing a sustainable future. But let's see our understanding of sustainability first. I will give you 10 seconds to choose your definition of sustainability between options A and B. A is where future generations should have at least the same consumption possibilities as us. Or B, future generations should have at least the same resources as us. So yeah, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Have you decided? Option A is what we call weak sustainability, where natural capital or type of capital are perfectly substitutable. So we can use all the resources we have today as long as we substitute them with other things such as money. Option B is what we call as strong sustainability, where natural resources substitutability is severely limited. So we cannot just use as many resources as we like, since we understand that those resources are indeed limited. And there is no right answer. However, the government uses sustainability as the fundamental of our energy 2025 and 2050 plan. It is the future target of our sustainable future, where the development meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. We stay on the carrying capacity of our natural resources. Our emissions should be less than our capability to absorb pollutants. Our resources and extraction rates should be less than regenerations of renewable resources, and the limited resources should be swapped with renewable resources. Having to understand the plan, so how are we going to do it? Well, it is elephant in the room, of course, energy transition. So the point of the energy transition is not only about the transition from fossil fuel to renewables. We have to change the technologies, practices, habits, relations, and perceptions to an alternative low concept of related technologies which fulfill the same or equivalent social function. Based on the energy technology perspective made by the International Energy Agency in 2017, there are 5 key transitional technology that helps us in this energy transition, and that includes energy efficiency, which means using higher efficiency and less loss conversion technology, and then penetration of renewables, of course, fuel switching, as Pak Henki said before, from LPG to DME, deployment nuclear power, and carbon capture and storage. So what is this energy efficiency thing? It means that we have to implement technology with higher efficiency to reduce our energy consumption, thus reducing our carbon emission. For example, switching to a high efficiency technology such as LED lights, if done by many, like millions of people, gives higher abatement potential compared to building a gas plant coupled with CCS technology. Why? Because first, LED is a proven technology. LED lights are cheaper than conventional lights. LED can be deployed massively in a short amount of time, and there is a significant amount of conventional lights that should be switched. While viable CCS technology is still under development, this requires specific. So do gas plants have the capital for deployment? Then what about the renewable penetration in Indonesia? But before that, let's see about our energy objectives. Here, by 2050, we have to generate about 20% of our energy from oil. However, our oil reserves only last for 12 years with the current production rate if we don't find any new reserves soon. We will still have natural gas and coal, but they will be depleted too in the future. So based on our strong sustainability concept, we have to further increase our renewable energy penetration sooner or later in the future. And how much does it cost us to reach this target? As you can see here that the overnight cost to deploy all these power plants is around $300 billion in today's currency rate. That is a lot of money to invest just for the power plants, not including all the other supporting systems, such as transmission and distribution, stabilized actions, accessories, and etc. This is indication that energy transition is costly and should be done incrementally. Lastly, about fuel switching and CCS. The government of Indonesia already mapped and planned its development for the future. We are now developing green chemicals. It is not literally green chemicals, but sustainably produced chemicals and fuels, such as green hydrogen, green ammonia, and biofuel. The plan is to substitute the common fuel, like Pertalite, Pertamax, with green hydrogen and biofuel, while green ammonia will be used for fertilizers. And then batteries will be substituted for fuels as well since it's being used in vehicles. We're also trying to utilize the readily available fossil fuel, especially coal, in a cleaner way by processing it through gasification, just like Pak Henki said before, to produce other chemical products, and also by employing air quality control system to further capture the emission from its processing activities. And to complete the energy transition, carbon capture and storage should also be deployed, since we have to reduce 340 millions of carbon dioxide emissions. So how are we going to do all these energy transition actions? We can learn from the countries that have been doing it earlier than us. In this case, the United Kingdom. Before we can learn from them, we should understand the history of their electricity system. From the 1940s to 1980s, the United Kingdom electricity system used natural monopolies today, where large-scale investment programs are most efficiently delivered by the state. A coordinated, integrated industry structure is optimal. It all changed in the 1980s when privatization happened. It all happened when people feel state-owned energy companies are highly inefficient. It always sent capital-intensive solutions rather than innovation and efficiency. Since the UK government decided that the industry should be made by private actors based on price signals delivered to the market. So sectors of the electricity system were divided and privatized, which means the market was open for private companies to compete, thus erasing natural monopoly status and making it a competitive market. By doing the privatization, the government can apply more radical regulations to further increase its renewable energy penetration by cultivating innovation and efficiency rather than capital-intensive solutions. From the production side, by doing privatization, reduced in political influence and made it more competitive. The UK government also set out a target to phase out coal by 2024 and decarbonize its power system by 2035, fully dependent on renewable energy. From trade and private registered providers, privatization opens up the path to introduce market and trading arrangements for generation, retail, and service market. The government of the UK also introduced regulations that support renewable energy power producers by giving exclusive power purchase agreement through feed-in tariffs and smart energy generation. On the transmission and distribution side, the UK can now use the real-time have this dependency towards imported technology, and we still have to stabilize our grid system because it will be disturbed by the renewable energy penetration. So mandatory technology transfer would be solution for these matters, and by enhancing grid stability through balancing mechanism development will help to power up our grid system. From environmental point of view, we have this environmental impact that still compared with profitability of each renewable energy projects. And the regulations on environmental externalities is still being developed. So we have to embrace exclusive PPI contracts, such as feed-in tariffs and smart energy generation, to improve renewable energies power plant viability. And then we can also mimicking regulations on externalities from other countries that has been doing this for decades. Lastly, about legal, I'm more focusing on local content of renewable energy technology. So we have to localize every possible components of renewable energy technology. So after all these new insights, what is your contribution to developing Indonesia's sustainable future? Well, I believe that as long as you keep pursuing your dreams, keep grinding constantly without giving up, whether you are going to end up in a startup, technology provider, or even government sector, then we are going to meet again in the future and build a strategic partnership that will accelerate the development of this energy transition. And those partnerships will create the value chain synergy throughout the industrial chain to further secure the benefits of all stakeholders, as we are the generation who will lead Indonesia in 2025 and 2050. As closing statements, I would like to say that the world has been giving its best to prevent the irreversible impact of climate change by executing all possible solutions, including energy transition. Energy transition is not only about switching from fossil fuel to renewables. Small actions such as unplugging the cables are also a significant movement if done by many. Lastly, challenges are not to be avoided, but to be faced together. We are the future generations of Indonesia. So thank you for having me this morning. I hope you gain insight from our short discussion. Think renewable, act sustainable.
Thank you so much, Mr. Hilman, for the presentation. I myself get a lot of knowledge about energy transition, starting from definition, the advantages and the urgency, and Indonesia's abundant energy resource, and the challenges to realize it in Indonesia. So, as Mr. Hilman said, energy transition is really needed to avoid climate change. And one of the actions is replacing our fossil fuel vehicle with something greener. And what kind of vehicle can replace it? So let's go straight to the topic presented in this second session, namely chemical as an eco-friendly car. Perhaps many of you still do not know what chemical or chemical reaction car actually is. How can a chemical hold an important role in energy transition? Or is it possible to make a chemical for our future vehicles? Well, we will find out and will be discussed and explored by our most astonishing speaker. I'll welcome her right away, Miss Regia.
Hi Tiara, hi everyone. Can you hear my voice clearly?
Yeah, we can hear your voice very clearly. How are you today, Miss Regia?
Yeah, it's very great. And also thanks for having me in this session. It's a very great opportunity to meet you guys, everyone. I know that more than 200 people joining this session, which I believe that everyone here are amazing young talents who are really, as Hilman said previously, giving how to say, small actions for better Indonesia. Okay, so is there anyone help me to share screen, Tiara?
Yeah, for the committee, we'll help you to share your screen. Okay. Before that, let me read the background of Ms. Regia. She is an environmental health and safety specialist known as EHS specialist at PT Kargil, Indonesia. She holds a bachelor's degree of chemical engineering at 10 November Institute of Technology in 2019. She started her career as a starch and spray dryer manufacturing technology engineer at PT Kargil, Indonesia in 2019. And since May 2022, she is an EHS specialist at the same company. Before we begin the presentation, I would like to remind all of you to write your question through the Slido link in the chat room, or if you want to ask directly to our speaker so that it can be more interactive, you can just raise your hand, then I will allow you to unmute. Without further ado, Ms. Regia, the time is yours.
Okay, thank you, Tiara. Thank you everyone. Thank you, committee, for having me in this session. So good morning, everyone. Good morning, Bu Widya. Good morning, Pak Sandiaga Uno, Pak Hengki, and all the participants. I would like to thank to all the committee who have invited me in this session, because I feel honored and blessed to have this opportunity to share in front of amazing young talents from various universities. So in a previous session, Pak Hilman shared about energy transition, which is a very packed materials. But in this session, hopefully, how to say, it's not a really packed materials, because we are only talking about the chemical, and is there any potential for chemical to be applied in a green vehicle in the future? And for sure, I believe that every one of you been joining this ICRCC competition. And I believe that every one of you have good understanding on what is chemical and everything. So in this session, basically, I only I only share resume that actually have been accessed in your mind. So, but first of all, I would like to say congratulations for all the participants here. You've done a very great job because you are the selected ones. You've been having so many progress in your chemical team. So I would like to say congratulations and keep your good work. Okay, so next slide. Before we will go into detail, let me introduce myself. So my name is Regia. Like what Tiara said, that you know, in a college, in university, I spent a big portion of my time joining chemical team as what you've done today. So basically, I also joining chemical in around 2016 when I was in a college. And then after graduating from ITS, I joined Cargill as an ODP, or we can say MT or management training program. We call it as operation development program in a Cargill. So, and I was assigned in manufacturing technology engineer and specialty in a spray drying process. And then starting exactly last month, yeah, in May, I was moving to EHS specialist, the department that focus on occupational safety and also process safety as well. Okay, so next, let's go to the topic that we are all talking about. Is about chemical. So what is actually the chemical? So by its definition, chemical is actually a competition which engage college students in designing and constructing a car powered by a chemical energy source. So basically, and I believe that every one of you have prepared a prototype car which used chemical reaction as its fuel. And in this competition and other kind chemical competition, it is required for all teams to run the car with a specific distance, and it has to be stopped. Not only about distance, there are a lot of challenges that challenged by the committee of the competition. It might be load challenge, also track challenge, and also maybe there are another competition that required you to create a car that able to hit the ball and then hit the pinball links and everything. We will discuss later. Okay, so next. So actually, who is the founder of chemical? Maybe most of you knows who is he, and most of you still didn't get any idea who is he. So basically, Scott Fowler. Scott Fowler is the father of chemical. So if you see on the right side, bottom side, those two books are the books that we use in our college life, right? This is the element of chemical reaction engineering and the essentials of chemical reaction engineering books, which is the Scott Fowler was becoming the author of those books. So Scott Fowler, a little bit a background of Scott Fowler. So he's actually the assistant professor in University of Michigan, and he's becoming the associate dean of the College of Engineering in University of Michigan, United States. And in around 1990s, he's becoming the chair of Department of Chemical Engineering. And the key point in 1990s, he's becoming the AICHE Board of Director. AICHE stands for American Institute of Chemical Engineers, and I believe that you being familiar with the terms that I have mentioned. So it is the institution for the chemical engineers in America. So there are so many programs that provided by them, such as kind of boot camp, process safety boot camp, competition, and other kind of program that provided by them for all chemical engineers around the world. And Scott Fowler was the Fenema Professor of Chemical Engineering and other afternoon professor at the University of Michigan. So when he was in an AICHE, being board of director, he initiated to create the idea of chemical. Okay, in the next slide, we will see how the chemical car was born. So at that time in 1990s, folklore, as what I have said previously, when he was being the board of director in the AICHE, he initiated how to make an event or how to engage the general public to understand more about chemical reaction. So basically, the first objective of why chemical was born is because he wanted to demonstrate a chemical engineering principle to general public. So that's the first objective why this competition was made. So that's why AICSG involving the undergraduate student chapter and made kind of competition for them to create a prototype car and required them to use a chemical reaction for the car. So they want to, and specifically he want people around the world understand that actually chemical reaction is a very basic thing in our life, because for example today's in our in our vehicle we have gasoline and also gasoline is also part of chemical reaction. How the gasoline can fuel the vehicle today, that's also part of chemical reaction. That's the first objective of this competition. So that's why the first competition of Chem E-Car held by AICHE in 1999. And at that time, the winner is coming from University of Michigan from United States. And until today, the competition still annually held by AICHE. But AICHE chemical competition is an international competition in the United States. But before joining in the United States, you have to join the regional ones. You are required to have the AICHE student chapter in your university. And then Vogler was born in 1940, and unfortunately he passed away last year in 2021. So probably last year was becoming the last time he was joining in the competition, because if you are joining AICHE chemical competition, you will meet Vogler in the United States. And then to honor Vogler, the IECHE Foundation endowed first prize in the annual student conference Chem E-Car competition in his name. Okay, so that's a little bit history of Chem E-Car in case you still do not have any idea about actually why the chemical was made. Okay, so next slide. So today I believe there are more Chem E-Car competition all around the world, and here are the only examples. I am being fair because I've been in your positions, and for sure you would like to find what are chemical competition in this world. And I believe that you probably want to challenge yourself to join the competition, but here are only the few lists of them. So the first is AICHE chemical competition in United States, and I believe most of you have known that. And the second one is ICRCC that you are joining right now. Previously we called it as ICECC if I'm not mistaken. The third competition held by University of Indonesia, PJDUI. And I believe most of you also been joining that competition. Another chemical competition is Malaysia chemical competition. It's also annual competition held by ministry in Malaysia. And another competition is Chemica in Australia and VDI Germany chemical competition in German. So actually there are a lot of chemical competitions in this world, and I believe Indonesian college students have won a lot of trophies from international chemical competitions. And another thing is about the concepts. This one, I believe today must be a lot of ideas from young talents about the chemical reaction that can be applied for their prototype car. They are only the examples, like you might using fuel cells, having the reactions that produce the hydrogen and oxygen and taking the oxygen from the environment. The second is one of the main chemical reaction is using hydrogen peroxide and using catalyst. There are a few types of catalysts, one of the famous one is the most famous one is iron chloride, and then battery, metal air battery, one of the solution to replace lead acid battery because it has a better environmentally friendly aspect, and then water turbine or air turbine. However, many of you also need to have a stopping mechanism, and those are the most common stopping mechanism used by the team, like hydrogen peroxide and its catalyst. Probably you can use the most common things is you use kind of a syringe, and then you create a gas, and the syringe will be moved, and then hit the button of this, hit the stop button, and then iodine clock, the most famous stopping mechanism, and another one is the thiosulfate clock. That's only the example, and I believe day by day the innovations always come up from young talents like you, and I believe there are more chemical reaction concepts for power and also stopping mechanisms. Okay, so actually, what are the challenges in the chemical? I would like only to share in the next slides. So, so basically, there are a few challenges in a chemical competition. So the first thing is distance. Yes, typically 8 up to 15, but it's dependent on the committee. They have the regulations and they own the regulations, so it's up to them. But typically in AICHE, it's about 8 up to 15 meters, and then the load always varies. So you have to, to take a lot of data, and I believe you've done that, taking a lot of data to understand how is the chemical reactions profile if you are going to have a certain distance with a certain load. Another thing is about the track. The tracks are also very. Most of the competitions are using triangle shaped track, and another competition also use a rectangular shaped track. So it's also challenging because you have to design your car properly so the tires can move well and not exceeding the boundaries, because if you are exceeding the boundaries, then you will get a penalty, right? And the last but not least is another challenge that's decided by the committee, but what I have ever known is about your car have to hit the ball and to hit the bowling pins. This is so besides you have to estimate how is the chemical reactions for your car to run in a specific distance, in a specific load, and in a certain track. You also have to hit the ball, which is required additional power for the car, and you have to hit the pin, which is needs more effort for your team to decide. Okay, and another thing is actually in the next slide. So actually, is there any possibility for Chem-A car to be applied in a future green vehicle? So there are so many aspects, and actually it has been a little bit mentioned by Pak Henki and also Pak Hilman previously, that when you are deciding on, or when you are analyzing something, a system that might be applicable in the future, you have to think a few parameters, and those 6 parameters might be the main parameters that in my perspective need to think about. The first is sustainability. So how sustained the fuel is, how sustained the chemical that you will use in the car. Are they abundantly provided in this earth or not? So you have to think about other solution or alternative to eliminate those kind of waste. And are they environmentally friendly? Should we just throw away the battery, and we have to consider those kind of things as a waste too. Speaking, today or not? Is there any other kind of chemical which is better in terms of the greenhouse gas impact or not? But also how the efficient. We have to think about and calculate what is the chemical used to produce a certain amount of power, and we have to calculate that one, and if it's still if we're talking about how applicable in the future, then we're involving all people in this world to use that system, right? Then we have to think about is the price still competitive compared to assisting a system or not? Practically, it is considering the user experience. If we're making a car, then we are using chemical reaction in it. So is that practical enough for the user to use that car? And the last one, but the most important thing is about safety. So as we know, that chemical reactions effects are that might be enough for human to operate, because if it is not safe, then it's not worth the price, it's not worth the system, because again we use it. We always hope that a concept of green chemical in the next slide will contribute to a green vehicle. So actually, what is the definition of the green vehicle? So based on and runs more efficiently than regular vehicles. So if you're not pollute less in terms of the side product, in terms of the chemical that is used compared to the assisting systems, then it's not considered as the green vehicles. And it's also supposed to run more efficiently. That I have said to you, the energy efficiency is that efficient enough, how the chemical or how many substances that is needed to create a certain power for the car to move. And in the right side, there is a graph showing you that the sales of the electric car nowadays. So basically, the people today are concerned enough about green vehicle. Most of them are switching from assisting system using gasoline into electric vehicle. Okay, in the next slide. So actually, what is the advantages of the green vehicle and disadvantages? This is the example of the electric car that is commonly used nowadays. So I have said that in the previous chart, we know that the sales of the electric car has increased time by time. And honestly speaking, they have few advantages for the users. The first is less emissions because no byproduct, not kind of a gasoline which is producing the greenhouse gas. So there's no kind of emission. The second thing is about less noise. So because there is no involvement of the mechanical works inside the system, so that's why there's no much noise as what we have in the current assisting car. And the third one is less maintenance frequency. I have said frequency because less mechanical or moving parts will require less maintenance frequency. But in the disadvantages, even we have less maintenance frequency, there is excessively expensive maintenance. Even the frequency has been reduced, but for example, if you were using the gasoline car, you have to do maintenance maybe once per month. And when you were using electrical car, you probably will only need maintenance once per year. But when you have a one-time maintenance fee, it's just equal with, for example, 10 up to 12 maintenance fee of the current vehicle, then it's just the same. So that's why when you're considering the car or the system is worth for the green vehicle or not, so you have to think about it also. The second thing is about another disadvantages is about the battery. So because we are using the battery in an electrical car, so that's why it's also heavy, because it's a dead weight for the car and you put it in the car. And the third one is the safety itself. There are so many historical issues with the battery, thermal explosion. Yeah, it's explosion itself, which is caused by the there is a wrong system in the battery itself, and it might create explosion, and also it will harm for the users who use the car itself. So as the closing statement, so chemical car is potentially can be used for the future system, but those I have said to you the 6 items that need to be considered. Those things should be considered when we want to apply one of the alternative system to the current system that we have. And I totally agree with Pak Hilman said in a previous session that we can start to contribute with the small things. So if you are concerning about energy, then start with the small things, create small actions, then it also considered as contributions. And another thing is involving yourself in a chemical team is totally a good things you have in a college life, because in a team you have assessment, you have experience on assessing how the chemical reactions will affect the car to run and stop in a certain distance with a various challenges. And also besides that, you also have experience on leading the teams, teamwork, and also communication, which is really beneficial for your future. So that's all for me. A few insights about the chemical and also about the green vehicle itself. Hopefully it might be helpful for your future. Thanks, Tiara, back to you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Regia, for the insightful presentation. I myself gained a lot of knowledge about chemical as an eco-friendly car, starting from definition, background, the important role of chemical in the energy transition, and the challenges to realize it in Indonesia. All right, we are going to proceed to the Q question and answer session, because I'm sure that all of the participants cannot wait to ask the question. And I would like to remind all of you to write your question through the link in the chat room, or if you want to ask directly to our speaker so that can be more interactive, you can just raise your hand, then I allow you to unmute. All right. I think we have some questions from the Slido, and I'll read the question. And for the first question is from Anonymous. The question is, in green chemical and fuel, there is green hydrogen and other stuff. What is the obstacle for this right now? Why only 37% could be substituted in green hydrogen? I think this question for Mr. Hilman. You may answer the question.
Okay, thank you, Tiara. So as for the biggest hurdle or obstacle right now is actually the technology itself for the green chemicals. Those technologies are actually, the process of processing those green chemicals are very long compared to the conventional chemicals. So first we have to tackle the electricity problems, as we know that we want to produce green chemicals from renewable energies, and renewable energies are very high in variance. It is not very dependable for processing. So yeah, we are still having to tackle that issues first. And then the second one is regarding the viability or the profitability of the plant itself. Since the process is very long, it will cost us a lot for capital expenditure and of course for operational expenditure as well. So yeah, we're still trying to figure out what is the best way to produce those green chemicals in a profitable way, of course. And then why only 37%? So that is only the target for our green chemicals in the future. We are not limiting our target, but that is, I think, the most rational target that we can achieve. Back again, we need more capital. We need to make sure the process itself is can be done. And I think that is all the answers for me. I hope that answers the questions.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Hilman, for the answer. Yeah, it is very clear question, clear answer. I'm sorry. Okay, next we proceed to another questions. I will pick the question from Slido. And the second question is there any milestone for Indonesia to achieve energy transition? I think this question is also for Mr. Hilman. For Mr. Hilman, you may answer the question.
Yes, thank you, Tiara. Yeah, actually, we can see it in the National Energy Policy in energy mix. In that energy mix plan, we can see the target for renewable energy penetration for 2025 and 2050. As I believe that in 2025, we are going to have, we are planning to have 20% of renewable energy penetration in our grid system. And in 2050, we are planning to have the 31%. So yes, we are not going to have 100% renewables in the future because we still have to use the readily available fossil fuel, but we are keep increasing our renewable energy targets. And we are also trying to, back again, improve our grid stability because renewable energy is highly variancing. So sometimes we have a lot of energy, sometimes we don't have any energy for renewable energy. So yes, we need to balance those ups and downs by using fossil fuel as well. So unlike developed countries, they already have the strong grid stability, unlike us. So I think that is the milestones that we are trying to achieve here. And if you want to see year by year targets, you can see Rencana Umum Penyediaan Tenaga Listrik or RUPTL from PT PLN. It is a 5 years plan, and you can see that what is the projects that PLN is going to develop in the next 5 years.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Hilman, for the answer. And next, we proceed to the third question. Since there is no one raising their hands, I will pick the questions from the Slido. The question is, what is the correlation between chemical to the industrial sector? I think this question is for Ms. Regia. For Ms. Regia, you may answer the question.
Yeah, thank you, Tiara, and thank you for the one who is asking this question. So this is also the question that I was wondering when I was in a college, because what is the objective of training chemical? I've been in your position. So when I was joining an industry, when I was working in a Cargill, so the concept of chemical and the benefits of joining chemical team is really important because when you are joining in the chemical team, you will have a analysis. You will take a lot of data to understand how is the chemical reactions will affect to your car. The same those analogy can be applied in industry. In industry, we are also we have to take a lot of data to understand how the processes works. As a process engineer, chemical is the prototype of how the industry is working actually. So you have to take a lot of data, you have to do trials, and then you have to have a very accurate data. That's just the same with industry, and the mindset that we learned when you were in a college in a chemical team. All the things will be used also when you are working. I mean, when you are working in industry as well. So it correlates. There is a big correlation between chemical and industry, because in industry you will also try to achieve high efficiency for your That's I have said previously. The energy efficiency is not only talking about the vehicle, but also about how your plants is working. When your plants can work with a low amount of energy, that's gonna be a very efficient. And those man site also has been introduced when we are in a chemical team. So it how to say, there is a big correlation between chemical and industrial lot.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Regia, for the answer. Hopefully, it is clear enough to answer the question. Next, we proceed to another question. I'll pick from the slide to slide. The question is from Anonymous. What is the biggest challenge being a sustainable energy enthusiast? I think this question is for Mr. Hilman. You may answer the question.
What is the biggest challenge? Actually, for now, yeah, renewable energy is not really happening here in Indonesia. So yeah, you need to look further to find the right communities to have a discussion with, and then actually it is both threat and opportunities. Then you can try to make your own societies for renewable energy, and the place to collaborate in renewable energy is also less compared to other developed countries. For example, we don't have any technology companies here. So yeah, we can contribute by working for other companies outside from the local companies. I think that is one of the challenges. And the second one is there are still, we need to look into other countries as well for higher educations regarding this renewable energy. I see that several local universities, institutes already trying to make programs for renewable energies. That is a good thing. But yeah, I think it would be better if we can further learn from developed countries that has been doing this for years. And I think those are the challenges for being a renewable energy enthusiast.
Wow, that's a good answer. Thank you for Mr. Hilman for answering the question. And next we proceed to another question. The question is from Anonymous, and the question is for Ms. Regia, I believe. And why you are decided to join chemical team, and what is the benefit you get from it? You may answer the question, Ms. Regia.
Okay, thank you, Tiara. Thank you also for those who asked this. This is also the same question to you guys. Why you're joining the chemical, and also why you're joining this competition. Let me share you a little bit. So a chemical team is one complete package to learn so many things from it, soft skill and hard skill. From soft skill point of view, in a team, you will learn how to lead the team, how you have a great teamwork to win the competitions, and then I believe that so many activities in your chemical team. That's a teamwork. And the third is about communication. I think this is also the most important thing, because in a chemical team, you have to engage in communication between one and other team member. And besides that, when you are having competitions, you will be challenged in a poster competition, right? And also it might be poster competition or kind of booth presentations. Maybe the judges just go around the booth. Most of the competitions or committees use that kind of competition as well. Then this activity will lead you into someone who trained your communication skill, both Indonesian and English as well. And it's totally beneficial when you are in the state of in a working state like me today. It's really beneficial in terms of the soft skill that you get from the chemical team. And the second thing is about the things that we learned and applied in a prototype car. So I'm the one who loved research at that time. So trial and error part that make me curious enough with when I ICPAR, so chemical engineering car, right? It stands for chemical engineering car. Then what kind of a chemical reaction that is used? Added chemical reactions. And when I joined team.
I'm sorry, Ms. Lydia, you are a little bit lagging.
How to say? It's a happy stage for me because I can do a lot of data.
I think Ms. Lydia have some problem with their internet connection.
I'm back actually. Sorry, I'm lost.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. You may proceed your answer, Ms. Lydia.
Okay. So actually, I have answered, but let me give you a resume or conclusion. So basically, in the chemical, there are a lot of beneficial things that you may get from soft skill, leadership, communication, and teamwork, and also from hard skill. It also challenges you to get a deep understanding about the chemical reactions and taking a lot of data and how to say collect data and also turn those data into information that can be used during the competition. So those are the things that becoming the reason why I joined in Chemicar.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Lydia, for the answer. I hope it answered the curiosity of the participants here. And next we move to another question from the slide again. This is from Anonymous. The question is, can the disadvantage of the green vehicle be an advantage, like the battery or any stuff? I think this question is for Ms. Regia. You may answer the question.
Okay, so actually, do the batteries can be assumed as advantageous or not? If you're talking about electrical vehicle, which is called by green vehicle today, and the current vehicle that we have, which is using the gasoline, it can be yes and it can be no. We have to take a look at the greenhouse gas impact. So there is a calculation to calculate the greenhouse gas impact, and you might find wherever maybe in a Google or something like that. So basically the greenhouse gas impacts is calculating how is the impact of the system of the chemical reactions to the environment. So today, based on the calculation, roughly the electricity or battery itself has a lower greenhouse gas impact to the environment. So yes, it can be said that using battery can be one of the advantages of the vehicle nowadays.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Regia. Hopefully it is answer the question. For the next question is for Mr. Hilman, I believe. The question is, why the Indonesia's energy plan in 2025, the mixing of energy dominated by coal?
Okay, so that is actually a good question. Why are we still depending to coal? Because first, as we know that transitioning to renewable energy is very costly. We have to make a lot of studies before we develop each project. And coal is actually a proven technology. We have the resources, we understand the technology, and we can further reduce the cost by doing value engineering. Coal itself is a power plant with high availability factor, so it can be running for more than for 24 hours, maybe not the whole year, but yeah, it has the higher availability factor than most of the renewable energies. That is why we are still depending ourselves to fossil fuels such as coal and gas, but still we are developing more and more renewable energy. For example, we are building more and more hydropowers, bigger or smaller scales, and then we are also deploying solar PVs in industrial scale or even in households. And we are also trying to develop ocean energy and of course wind energy. So yes, we are still going to depend on fossil fuel in the future because we have the resources to do so, but we are also going to put more renewable energy into our system. So that is why.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Hilman, for the insightful answer. Next, we proceed to the next question. I think this question, it can be both, for both of you, Mr. Hilman and Ms. Regia. The question is, how is the best way to promote renewable energy to students? I mean, I think Ms. Regia first to answer the question.
Yeah, this is how to say. Actually, I think Pak Hilman can answer better, but let me try to answer as well. So the best way to promote renewable energy to student is because as we know that student has different understanding on how important of renewable energy to our planet, then start to give a deep understanding to them. Let them understand how important renewable energy is. And we know if you're not doing kind of small actions about renewable energy, on how about saving energy, because the energy that we are using today is not totally sustained, right? And we know that because it's not totally forever sustained, then we have to think about it. So that's the first step, I think, to promote renewable energy to students, give them understanding about how important and what will be this consequence if they are not if they are not giving the small actions to how to say to reduce the energy usage or to save the energy. Maybe Pak Hilman can answer better.
Yes. Okay, so I am totally agree with Ms. Regia. Practically speaking, if I can give you an analogy, how are you going to promote how good sunblock is to a foreigner? Of course, to give them sunblock, right? So yeah, my proposal is to show them what is the effects of climate change, bring them to waste management system, and then show them as well the renewable energies. Show them the solar PVs that are working. Show them the hydropower plants, if we can, and then let them show their curiosities about renewable energies. And I think that is going to be working because that's how I get hooked up to renewable energy in the first place.
Maybe I want to add on, Tiara.
Yeah, please, Ms. Regia.
I'm totally love one of the statement from Pak Hilman is actually the how to say to contribute into renewable energy. It's not mandatory to start with the big things. We can start with small things. So when we are promoting renewable energy to students, ask them to do small things first and let them know that small things will bring the big impacts. So I really love how to say the conclusions from Pak Hilman in the previous slides.
Yeah, I also totally agree with that. Okay, thank you, Mr. Hilman and Ms. Regia for the answer. We move to another question. I think this question is for Ms. Regia. The question is, what advice would you give to a team that is going to participate in maths for the first time? Please, you may answer the question, Ms. Regia.
Okay. The first thing is well prepared. So well prepared and also give them understanding that only by joining competition you will gain bunch of benefits. And for sure you have to prepare very well because in the competitions it's a very complex competitions, right? You have to take a lot of data, you have to turn the data into informations, and then you have to create a poster, you have to train yourself to give a good presentations. There are a lot of things to be prepared, and it requires time and effort, and it works. It works. And the second thing is give understanding that only by joining will give you benefits, because sometimes people will down, our students will down if they're not winning the competitions. That's not the main objective as what Bu Widya, the chief of the, the head of the chemical engineering department said, that you only joining the competition means that you've been winning to yourself, because you push yourself to take more effort on and train yourself, take a lot of data and everything in your team. You've been winning. You've become a winner actually for yourself, and by the time you will learn during the competition, and you will be updated how is actually the chemical reactions nowadays that been used in a chemical system, and then by the time you can improve your team, and I believe that every one of you can win the competitions.
Okay, Ms. Regia, that's insightful advice and very helpful advice, I believe. Due to the time limit, I have to say sorry that this question is the last question. I think that's all for the question and answer session. Thank you very much for participating in the Q&A session, and also thank you very much for Mr. Hilman and Ms. Regia for your time and insightful knowledge. Hopefully all of the participants can receive their knowledge well, and also we can wait to see all of you to take a part of energy transition. Or maybe one of you want to be sustainable energy engineer enthusiast, who knows? Okay. We have finally arrived at the end of our event. Thank you for sticking with us until the end. On behalf of the committee, we sincerely apologize for any mistake we may have made in the proceeding of today's event. As the moderator, I apologize for the mistake I may have made. And before bidding farewell, I would like to remind you to not forget to fill in the attendance form, because it is the requirement to get your certificate. Now, I would like to invite all of you to take a virtual group photo so that we have some memories of this event. Please kindly turn on your cameras and give your best smile. And for the committee, can I ask your help for taking a picture?
So, all right, before we add today's webinar session, I would like to invite all the participants to turn on your camera, because we're going to have a document session together in a few moments. Thank you.
I think we will wait a minute while the participants turn their cameras. Come on, guys, don't be shy. Turn on your cameras and give your best smile.
All right, we're going to start the document session. So, for the first slide, in 3, 2, 1. And because for the rest of the slide are not turning on their cameras, so we get back to the session, to the MC, back to the MC.
Okay, that wraps up of webinar ICRCC 2022. We sincerely hope that you can develop your knowledge on the challenge of energy transition towards eco-friendly car through this course. As the moderator, I, Tiara, bid farewell. I give the time back to the MC, Gerald and Bia. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tiara. Once again, give your virtual applause to our speaker and moderator for such an insightful discussion. Thank you, Mr. Hilman and Ms. Regia, for giving us more information about the challenge of energy transition towards eco-friendly car.
Now we're going to award the medal to our first speaker, Mr. Hilman, which will be given by the committee of ICRCC 2022.
Thank you, ICRCC Chernival.
Good afternoon, Mr. Hilman. I am Tarisa. As representative of Chernival, we would like to say thank you to Mr. Hilman for being our speaker on webinar and awarding ICRCC 2022 today. Hopefully, the participants can learn many things from your amazing session. As our appreciation and gratitude, this is a little thing from us for Mr. Hilman. For the documentation, maybe the committees can help us to take a picture.
All right, so for the documentation of the battle, we can start right now. So in 3, 2, and 1. All right, that's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the committees. Thank you, Mr. Hilman, much again.
Thank you.
Okay, also we would like to say thank you to Ms. Regia for being our speaker on webinar and awarding ICRCC 2022. Hopefully the participants can take up many things from your awesome session. There is a little thing from us to Ms. Regia as our appreciation and gratitude. Maybe the committees can help us to take a picture for the documentation.
All right, for Ms. Regia, we're gonna take the competition session. So in 3, 2, and 1.
Taking attention of the webinar, we will refresh you with our entertainment, SOURCE.
SOURCE, or Sound for Chemical Engineering, is a club which engages in music under Himatek ITS. This club is aimed to accommodate the interest and talent of students in Chemical Engineering Department of ITS in music.
Setelah begitu lama tersisa air mata, banyaknya kenangan yang tak akan terlupakan, masa-masa yang indah, masa-masa kita bersama. Perasaan mendalam yang takkan pernah reda. Ku maafkan aku tak mengikuti keinginanmu. Jangan putus asa dahulu, karena pelaut hebat tak pernah lahir di laut yang tenang. Kawan, teruslah kau berjuang. Kita semua boleh jatuh, tapi harus bangkit, bangkit bangun kembali. Kita semua boleh jatuh, tapi harus bangkit kembali. Kita semua boleh jatuh, tapi harus bangkit, bangkit bangun kembali. Kita semua boleh jatuh, tapi harus bangkit kembali. Janganlah kau berlari dari semua masalah yang hadapimu. Cobalah kau hadapi dengan senyuman. Karena tapi harus bangkit, bangkit bangun kembali. Kita semua boleh jatuh, tapi harus bangkit kembali. Kita semua boleh jatuh, tapi harus bangkit, bangkit bangun kembali. Kita semua boleh jatuh, tapi harus bangkit kembali. Kita harus bangkit, jatuh bangun, jatuh bangkit kembali. Kita semua boleh jatuh, tapi harus bangkit, bangkit bangun kembali. Kita semua boleh jatuh, tapi harus bangkit kembali. Kita semua boleh jatuh, tapi harus bangkit, bangkit bangun kembali. Kita semua boleh jatuh, tapi harus bangkit kembali. Kita semua boleh jatuh, tapi harus bangkit kembali. Kita semua boleh jatuh, tapi harus bangkit kembali. La 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 la.
Such a wonderful performance. So what's more we're going to have after this, Gerald?
Okay, after this we'll take a look closer to the recap video of ICRCC 2022. It's been a long journey to reach this point, isn't it, Bia?
Yep, that's right, Gerald. Now we are going to one of the special agenda that everyone, especially the finalists of ICRCC 2022, waits for. Announcement of the favorite winner of ICRCC 2022.
Favorite winner categories will include Best Poster, Most Favorite Video, Most Eco-Friendly Car, Most Consistent Performance, and Best Presentation. So, let's see the announcement. Congratulations to Spectronics XXI as the winner of Best Presentation,
Chemicar YS as the winner of Most Eco-Friendly Car,
Velocimic 2.0 as the winner of Most Consistent Performance,
Balapan Voltron as the winner of Most Favorite Video Profile,
and Antatari Kairos as the winner of Most Favorite Video Profile.
So, what next, Gerald?
Okay, next we'll refresh you again with another entertainment by Source.
They took away the prophet's dream for a prophet on the street. Now she's stronger than you know. A heart of steel starts to grow. All his life he's been told he'll be nothing when he's old. All the kicks and all the blows, he won't ever let it show. 'Cause he's stronger than you know. A heart of steel starts to grow. When you've been fighting for it all your life, you've been struggling to make things right. That's how a superhero learns to fly. Every day, every hour, till the pain. When you've been fighting for it all your life, you've been working every day and night. That's how a superhero learns to fly. Every day, every hour, turn the pain into power. When you've been fighting for it all your life, you've been struggling to make things right. That's how a superhero learns to fly. Every day, every hour, till the pain. When you've been fighting for it all your life, you've been working every day and night. That's how a superhero learns to fly. Every day, every hour, till the pain into power. She's got a lions in her heart, a fire in her soul. It's got a beast in his belly that's so hard to control. 'Cause they've taken too much hits, they can blow a blow. Now let a match stand stand back, watch them explode. She's got a lions in her heart, a fire in her soul. It's got a beast in his belly that's so hard to control. Cause they've taken too much hits, taken blow by blow. Now a ladder match, stand back, watch them explode. Explodes, 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 explodes. When you've been fighting for it all your life, you've been struggling to make things right. That's how a superhero learns to fly. Every hour to the pain, but it's a fight for it all your life. You've been working every day and night. That's how a superhero learns to fly. Every day, every hour to the pain into power. Every day, every hour to the pain into power. You've been struggling to make things right. That's how a superhero learns to fly.
Such a wonderful performance. Thank you, sirs, for your amazing performance.
Okay, we already announced the winner of the 5 categories and what's the amazing performance by sirs. Then what's more, Bia?
Now we are going to the most special agenda that you have been waiting for. Announcement of the winner of ICRCC 2022.
The winner is calculated based on the accumulated presentation and inspection point as well as the race competition. So let's see the announcement. Congratulations to Super Hit Team 2.0 as the third winner, Gardapati as the second winner, and Bumantara as the first winner of ICRCC 2022. Give your virtual applause to all the winners of ICRCC 2022. Then we're going to hear some words from the champion of Indonesia Chemical Reaction Car Competition 2022, Tim Bumantara from Brawijaya University. Is Tim Bumantara on Zoom? I repeat, is Tim Bumantara on Zoom? Or in Tim Garapati is in the Zoom?
Yes, we are in the Zoom.
Okay, I think Tim Bumantara is already on the Zoom. Okay, for Tim Bumantara, how do you feel after winning the ICRCC 2022?
Hello, can you hear my voice?
First of all, can you turn on your camera?
I'm sorry, but my camera cannot. Is my camera on?
I repeat the question. How do you feel after winning the ICRCC 2022?
Okay, first of all, thank you so much for the board of ICRCC 2022 committee. We are very glad and very thank you for this opportunity. Once again, it was a very, very overall a great competition. And hello, can you hear my voice? Hello.
Hello, we can hear you.
Okay. Can I proceed? Can I continue?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, so it was very unexpected for us. We are very grateful for the opportunity. Thank you for all the ICRCC 2022 committee. And good luck for you all for this amazing competition. And I think, and also thank you for all the finalists for the great competition. And I think that's all from me. Thank you once again. Yeah, I think that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim Bumantara, for the answer.
Okay, next is Tim Gadapati on Zoom.
Yes, can you hear my voice clearly? Hello?
Hello, Gadapati team. How do you feel after winning the ICRCC 2022?
Okay, I will say some words. We're very grateful for this. It is hard to put this feeling into words. Nevertheless, I'm very glad to deliver my speech on such an important and momentous occasion in my life. It is a huge honor for us to receive this award for being the second winner of ICRCC 2022. We are deeply honored by our superiors for this recognition of our works. First of all, I would like to recognize the immense hard work of the other contenders. Dear fellow teams, believe me, your as far as I believe, we all are truly winners today. None of the contenders is in any way less great than the others. The amount of hard work and time commitment you have dedicated toward your respective works is truly commendable. I don't think missing out on this award is in any way tarnish your hard work, effort, or skill. To be honest, the way to this award was no child's play. We have to go through and deal with various complex problems. Furthermore, bringing an idea to life requires a great deal of effort. Also, various challenges and problems arose along the way. Our valve was broken just 9 hours before the race. Even our solenoid valve was broken even 1 hour before the race. But with all of our resistance and hard work, we were able to eliminate those problems just in time. The dedication of this award I would like to extend to my parents. I am what I am today because of the effort of my parents. Furthermore, my parents left no stone unturned in providing me the necessary resources in my life. Most notably, I can never pay back what they did for me. I would like to thank to my team, Rashid, Mas Wahyu, Kevin, and Chuning, for their incredible effort. Furthermore, without your excellent performance, we would not be here today and receiving this award. The cooperation and understanding among the team members were just phenomenal. Many times, the team had to work overtime, even on the rest day. We did trial until 3 a.m. West Indonesian time, but never once did they have a problem with that. I don't think I could have a better team than this team. Don't forget to also thanks to Mr. Bambang Purwadi MS for the guidance and direction that has been given to our team. If not because of you, we won't be able to be here. Thank you, thank you, thank you very much. I would like to thank the sorry. I would dedicate this award to Himpunan Mahasiswa Teknik Kimia Brawijaya University, which is headed by my senior, Mas Okta from Bumantara team. Especially to the Department of Cemekar, which is headed by Mas Faris, the manager of Bumantara team, and also the leader of Meraki team. Because of all the support and learning they have given to us, in the end, we can show our maximum performance in ICRCC 2022. My seniors also have major role in our success. Tim Adideva, Tim Patra, Tim Meraki, and Tim Bumantara. Those teams had a profound role in our skill development. This award will always be dear to us. It will always be a reminder of the hard work that we all have put into these projects. Moreover, this award will only motivate us to achieve more success in the future. Atom Cemekar Brawijaya University, after being without a degree for many years, we are finally able to bring pride to our beloved alma mater. Hidup teknik kimia, hidup teknik kimia, hidup teknik kimia. 1, 2, 3 teknik. 1, 2, 3 teknik. 1, 2, 3 teknik. Terima kasih, matur nuwun, gracias, thank you.
Thank you Garnapati for the answer. And now I want to ask to Superhit Team 2.0. Is Team Superhit 2.0 is on the Zoom?
Yes, sir.
Okay, how do you feel after winning the third place of ICRCC 2022?
We are so happy for this awarding, and we would like to say thank you for all the commit and all the participants, all the team that give the opportunity to us to attend in this special event ICRCC 2022. And also we would like to say Alhamdulillah to our Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, and we would like to say thank you to our family, our parents for supporting us, and for our sponsor Rumah Mesin for supporting our car. And then we would like to say thank you to our advisor Mr. Agus Aktawan, and our manager Muhammad Sigit Mustafa, and all the senior in Superhit team. We would like to say thank you for your support for us, for your time to teach us and everything for this event. And also we would like to say thank you for all the participants in this event. Thank you very much, and that all from us. See you in the next competition. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you and congratulations for Bumantara, Gadapati and Superhit Team 2.0 as the winner of ICRCC 2022. And once more, congratulations to all the winners of ICRCC 2022. Thank you to all the participants, committee, and to our sponsors, Mr. Pramono, Mr. Joko Pranoto, PT Kilang Pertamina Internasional, PT Kilang Pertamina Internasional RU4, PT Kilang Pertamina Internasional RU7, PT Pupuk Kaltim, PT Energi Kuarto Indonesia,
PT Pupuk Indonesia, PT Petrokimia Kayaku, PT Badak LNG, PT Python Operation and Maintenance Indonesia, PT Semen Indonesia Group, PT Pertamina Lubricants, PT Semen Padang, and PT Cel Jedang Indonesia for supporting to make our event success.
Also, thank you very much for the insightful and very informative session given by our speaker, Mr. Hilman Prasetya Edi, as the speaker in energy transition, and Ms. Regia Puspitasari as the speaker in the topic of Chem-E-Car or chemical reaction car as the eco-friendly car. And also thank you very much to our amazing moderator, Tiara.
Ladies and gentlemen, those are all the agenda we have presented to you today. But before that, we are going to take a photo together by screenshot on the Zoom screen. So for all the participants, please turn on your camera and use the virtual background that has been provided by the ICRCC 2022. For the facilitator, time is yours.
So alright everyone, so before we end today's awarding of ICRCC 2022 and the last event of ICRCC 2022, I would like to invite all the participants of today's awarding to turn on your camera because we're going to have a document session together in a few moments. Thank you.
Astaga, parah chaos banget.
I would like to remind once again to all the participants to turn on your camera for the documentation session. Thank you. All right, may we start the documentation session right now. So for the first slide in 3, 2, and 1. And for the second slide in 3, 2, and 1. Because the rest of the slides are not turning on their camera, the documentation session can be ended right now. Back to the MC, please. Thank you.
We remind to all participants to fill the link feedback in the chat box Zoom. Now it's time for us to say goodbye. Thank you to all participants for actively participating in this awarding day of Indonesia Chemical Reaction Car Competition 2022. And also, don't forget to come to the closing ceremony of Chernival 2022, which will be held offline in Surabaya.
Don't forget to join us in the closing and charity event of Chernival 2022. I'm Gerald.
And I'm Rabia.
We hope to see you again in the next session of Indonesia Chemical Reaction Car Competition 2023. We apologize for our mistake while being the master of ceremony.
See you in ICRCC 2023.
Berjuang dan terus berjuang karena kita akan berjuang, karena kita akan menjadi pembawa